Walk with me. Don't take anything personally. How often in our life have we been told that one? Such a simple statement. Should be so easy. Don't take it personal. How come it's so hard? You know, it's interesting when we take things personally. A lot of times it causes us to respond in a way that is not only unintended, it's not even really us. It's almost like when we take things personally, our own emotions can take over the steering wheel and drive. Where are we going? But such an important principle that if we can learn to actually strive to live that way, hey, just don't take things personally. How much easier would life be? How much better would life be? How much happier would we be? So I want to talk about that, and specifically 3 questions that I ask myself when I'm in a situation or circumstance where I feel like I'm taking things too personal. Super simple questions, but hugely valuable to create an instant shift in a moment where we all need it. And let's face it, we all get in those moments where we need it. And I know it can be a simple tool. You remember it after today's conversation. You can use it instantly forward, and it'll be helpful through all the things day to day. Before we get into it, I'm going to ask, who's with me today? Sun's peeking through the clouds, a little gray here in Pacific Palisades. Who's to my right? Who's to my left? Who's with us live? Who's watching a replay? Let me know below. Where you from? Welcome back. I love that we got a crew that is like consistently together. I see you, those of you that walk with us frequently on these days around the same time live. I appreciate you. And for those that are new to the crew, welcome. Maybe someone shared this with you. Maybe you got tagged in the comment. Maybe you stumbled on the feed. If it's your first time, we walk together, sharing inspired thoughts, life lessons, things to help us move toward who we can become, right? What we're meant to do. And I love the collaboration and participation. So please introduce yourself and chime in with any perspective that adds value to us. And we've had some great conversations, over 160 now. Isn't that crazy? So you can catch the full list on the podcast, Alive by Design, or search Blake Malin. Subscribe. And if you ever hear an episode you love, leave a review. I read them, it means something. So when was the last time you took something personally? Be honest. You might not have said anything to somebody else, but you know what I mean by you took it personally. You can tell when we're in a situation we take personally because it instantly shifts our mood, our attitude, our feelings, and with all those emotions, it changes our perspective of how we actually interpret what's going on. It literally filters the meaning we choose to give a situation, which creates kind of a negative loop, right? We take something personally, we get a negative emotion, we get triggered, and we don't like the way that it feels. And because we're programmed to see things that validate how we feel and what we believe, we start to reinvent the meaning of what actually happened, which just triggers more negative emotion, more negative feelings. And I don't know, I've been down those wormholes. How about you? Negative emotion, one direction or the other. It's not a good thing. Like, there's nothing good that happens from like taking something too personally. But easier said than done, right? Well, we've all heard it, right? How many times have we heard it? Don't take it personal. Hey, it's not personal. Yet it still gets us most of the time. So what do we do about it? How do we get better at it? And I have 3 questions that I'll pass on to you that I I use frequently. And I'll preface this by saying there's no way I'm perfect at this at all, but it's something I work toward. It's something that I recognize. And, shifts start with an awareness. And then having a tool to use helps us with those shifts. So I want to do both those things, create an awareness and give you some simple tools in the form of questions. First question, when you're in a situation that you feel like you're taking to personally, you're reacting, you're getting triggered, you're going down an emotional shift, here's the question. Is my response coming from a place of ego? Ooh. Is my ego getting in the way on this one? Some signs that it's ego. When all of a sudden you're in a situation and you get triggered or you react, and maybe you come from a place of anger, you come from a place of fight back, you come from a place of let me explain, you come from a place of you are wrong, right? You come from a place of an aggressive energy. Might be an indication that your ego is getting in the way. And what's interesting is in so many scenarios, we think it's about us. Ego says we're making it about us. They did something to me. They're saying something to me. They disagree to me, right? They're making me feel this way. We make it about us. And here's just the fact. Most of the time, it's not about you. It's not. People are not focused on you. People are focused on them. They're focused on their situation. We have so many things we're juggling all the time. We can't possibly be putting the energy into caring as much about you or me or anybody at any time. But our ego speaks up and we make things about us that aren't really about us. That's an ego talking, an ego reacting. So when we ask the question, is my ego getting in the way? Really causes us to reflect, like, are we responding in a way we don't want to respond? Are we making it about us when it's not really about us? Are we making it an attack on what we think, what we believe, who we are, right down at a level that's really not anything about us in that situation? And if it's ego, we got to recognize it and we got to make the shift. Another question that we can ask, say, hey, is my ego getting in the way? Am I coming from a place of ego here? A second question would be, is it my insecurity getting in the way? Am I coming from a place of insecurity here? You see, same thing, different thing. Opposite side of same coin. Ego, one side, insecurity, the other. But they go hand in hand, right? Sometimes we come from a place of ego. Other times we come from a place of insecurity. So often we've been brought up and conditioned to believe that we're not enough, we're not good enough, that mistakes are bad, that if I fail, I'm a failure. All these things associated between what we do or how people respond to what we do and how that attaches value or self-worth to who we are. What a crazy connection. What people think that we do, and somehow that has any relation to our own self-worth and our own self-value. But our insecurity flares, our insecurity revs up. Sometimes insecurity can come and look like the responses I said earlier. Other times we can get down on ourselves. We can beat ourselves up. We can curl into a ball. We can hide. We can freeze. We can get upset, right? We can get our feelings hurt. We can get down. We can get stressed. We can get depressed. All these responses coming from a situation are signs that maybe our insecurity is getting in the way. And in a strange way, insecurity is a lot like ego in that we're still making it about us. For us to get insecure, that issue or situation, right, we're attaching meaning that it's about us. And in no way can we let our actions, let alone someone's perception of our actions, be tied to our own self-worth, right? Who we are. And I'd say the majority of the time, it's one of those things. It's our ego or it's our insecurity that hijacks our emotions and causes us to take things more personally than they really are meant to be. And in both scenarios, we get stuck in a negative emotional response, a trigger, a cycle. And it prevents us from being the best that we can be, from doing what we can do, from showing up as we can show up. It takes over who we really are and masks it by a bunch of fake meaning. And then the last question I'll give, and this helps get through either of those situations, is what's the intention here? So often we gravitate toward words that are used, and all of us have different meaning to words. It's a fascinating thing, right? We all use the same vocabulary. We have the same language. We look up the definition in the dictionary. They read the same thing, but the association we have to words is actually different. And how words are used are different based on how we use words and our own past references. It's a pretty fascinating thing, how powerful words can be and how different they can be to different people. So I ask the question, what's the intention? Because intention goes beyond the words. It goes beyond attaching to our association to a word or someone misusing a word. Right? I've been in a lot of situations where, sometimes I think too fast or talk too fast, and I have that intention behind what I'm saying, but the words that I use are interpreted differently. And I was like, no, it's not the word. That's not my intention. And having been in those situations, I've learned to try to give grace to the language people use. I don't focus linearly on the words, but try to understand what's the intention behind it. And I think that's a greater communication, right? When we're having a situation, when ask ourselves, well, what's the intention? What's their intention in the communication? What's the intention here? Respond to the intention. Don't respond to the trigger words that maybe get used in a situation that cause you to take something personally. And so often, if you do that, you realize, well, the intention isn't to hurt you. The intention isn't to make you feel bad. The intention isn't to get you to react or respond. The intention isn't even to make it about you, right? If you're reading into the intention. Now, there may be situations where it is, right? Maybe there's a specific situation where it has to do with something you said or something you did or a situation you were in. So then I flip the other side of the coin. Well, what's your intention in this situation? And you guys, this is really important, because if you come from a place where your intention is right? Intention meaning you did the best that you could do in the moment with the information you had. Intention is right, meaning you did what you thought was the right thing for the right people, right, in the right circumstance. That's intention. Now, intention doesn't mean you may not make a mistake, right? We might make a mistake. We might mess up. We might make a bad decision. That's normal. That is normal. But if you're coming from a place where your intention is right, well, then you should never take something personally. Your intention was in the right place, even if the action, right, could have been better. And you guys, everybody can relate to that. We've all been in situations where if we were to go back, right, maybe we would do something different. But that's not a regret. That's not a negative. That's not something to take personally, as long as in that situation you did the best you could with the right intention with the information you had. You can't. Of course, hindsight's 20/20, but that's not how life works. The dots connect in the future. They don't connect right now. So asking yourself, well, what is the intention both from that person coming to you, and then the intention from you in that situation allows you to detach from the outcome. Now, in no way are these excuses, right? Sometimes we mess up. Sometimes we make mistakes. That's normal, right? And it's okay for partnerships and relationships to help us get better. That's feedback. That's coaching. That's mentorship. That's how we grow. We want an environment that allows us to get better. But we don't want to do it in a place where we take things personally and our emotions mask us from taking the information we need to improve, to grow. And I think if we ask ourselves, hey, let's not come from a place of ego. Let's not come from a place of insecurity. Let's make sure we are aware of the intention coming to us and the intention going through us back the other way. And that allows us to distill things down and not have the emotional response of taking things personally, but still being able to get the feedback that we need to get better, to learn, to grow, to fall down and get back up. And to work collaboratively with the people around us in an environment that can help us grow and help us get better. So those are 3 questions that are simple tools, right? Simple tools that when we get into a situation of, hey, I feel like I'm taking things too personally right now, just break that out. Number 1, give yourself grace and celebrate the fact that you're aware, because awareness allows you to make a shift, right? Take a deep breath and ask, hey, am I coming from a place of ego on this one? Right? Am I coming from a place of insecurity on this one? What's the intention that they really mean? What's the intention that I really bring? Now that we've distilled all that down, we can get back control of, the emotional response and start to figure out, okay, is this something that I really need to do? Or is it something that isn't really about me and I'm not really involved and I can move on to other things, and both might be the truth, but at least we can get to the fact to move forward. There's one more view from the top. The sun's coming out today. Beautiful day. So you tell me, any other tools you use to not take things personally? If there's someone that came to your mind in this conversation, maybe somebody that took something personally that you didn't even mean, tag them in the comments, share this to your feed, and save this one to come back to, because I know there'll be a situation in all of our lives. It's just the nature of how we move, where we overreact, we overrespond, and this might be a good reminder to come back to from a place of getting better, right? And as we get better and become the person we're meant to be, we're able to make a bigger impact. We're able to do what we're meant to do, make an impact we're meant to make, and be an example, right, for other people to do the same. So here's to not taking things personally, right, moving forward in the spirit of better and growth. Until the next time we talk together, take care, everybody.